The one where Ross got high is the 9th episode of the 6th season of Friends. This is directed by Kevin Bright, and it's easily one of the best Friends episodes. It's actually currently the 9th top-rated episode of all time on IMDb, and it comes as no surprise. As always, there will be spoilers as I go through the episode and share some thoughts, and from start to finish, it's just an absolute joy. We establish the main narrative. It's Thanksgiving, and Jack and Judy are coming over, and Monica tells Chandler not to say they're living together. And this is because they don't know she's dating him, and this is because they don't like Chandler. And we do find out why that is, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Rachel is then making the trifle. Monica has so much faith in her that she hasn't actually got a second dessert. It is just the trifle. And Rachel is understandably quite nervous about that. And Jack and Judy then arrive. Chandler makes a comment about whether it's snowing. It's clearly dandruff. And it's a little bit awkward. We also learn that Phoebe had a dream about Jack. That part of the narrative is the only bit that I didn't really care for. It's not bad, necessarily. I just never, whenever I've watched this episode, I've just never really found any entertainment in that part of it. But it was a nice way to bring Phoebe into it. And Joey particularly wants to actually spend Thanksgiving with Janine because her friends are coming over and they're just going to get drunk. But he is excited about the trifle, and we get this shot of the trifle, and whenever it's in frame, my eyes just go to it immediately. And Rachel goes through the different layers, and she put beef and peas and onions in the trifle. And when she leaves the room, Joey and Ross obviously look through the recipe book to see what on earth she's done. The pages were stuck together. She's made half an English trifle and half a shepherd's pie. and the shouting of Chandler's name when they realised the pages were stuck together, pretty entertaining. We then find out why Chandler is not liked by Jack and Judy. And this is because Ross got high in college, as the title suggests, and he blamed Chandler. He said it was Chandler, and he had got high and then jumped out of the window. And I guess understandably, Jack and Judy believe Ross. I feel like it's a bit of a big lie, but at the same time, whether they believed him or they just wanted to believe him, all this time they thought Chandler had got high in Ross's apartment or Ross's room. And needless to say, Chandler doesn't want them to think this. And we'll come back to what happens with that in a little bit. Meanwhile, we need to deal with the trifle, and I think they handled it in a really good way. It was a really sensitive way to handle things, because they could have just come out with it and said, Rachel, you screwed up the trifle, but they didn't. Instead, they decided to pretend that it was okay, and this does mean that Rachel thought Ross was hitting on her for a little bit, but ultimately, it seems like they're getting away with it. And they all have their trifles, and then they all disperse to get rid of the trifle in different places. And Joey is actually enjoying it. He likes it a lot, which is disgusting. There's also, I'm sure many people are aware of this, but there's a story Matt LeBlanc told about, obviously they have various takes for this, and David Schwimmer had apparently spat some of it back out onto the plate, and Matt LeBlanc didn't see this. And apparently there was too much on David Schwimmer's plate, so they put some onto Joey's plate, onto the plate Matt LeBlanc was eating from, and Matt LeBlanc was eating it quite happily because Joey enjoyed it. And obviously some of that was David Schwimmer's spit. It's a fun story. I'm not giving it any justice. I believe it was said on the Graham Norton show, so if you want to check out that clip, I thoroughly recommend it. But it definitely makes that scene a little bit more interesting. And then we have just the best part of the episode, the best part of pretty much any episode, actually. It is so beautifully executed. And I will go through everything that happens, but we're told that it happens in 30 seconds, but actually it's more about a minute. But over the course of a minute, Monica makes Ross confess about smoking pot in college, and then for whatever reason, because she's annoyed that Ross lied about Chandler and that affected her parents' view of Chandler, she then also said that Ross stole the Playboys. Well, Hurricane Gloria broke the porch swing. Ross hasn't worked at the museum for a year. Monica and Chandler are living together. Ross got married in Vegas with Rachel and got divorced again. Phoebe loves Jacques Cousteau. Rachel wasn't supposed to put beef in the trifle. Joey wants to go. And as Judy says, that's a lot of information to get in 30 seconds. I don't know how many takes it took. I don't know if that was all one take or if it was cut up, but it is beautiful. I'd actually love to see some more behind the scenes and bloopers for this episode, but we do get a few out there. But it's just perfectly executed. I absolutely love it. And I love the fact as well that Judy really took charge of the situation, realizing everything was falling apart, and she basically comforted people and, well, she told Phoebe that she thought Jacques Cousteau was dead, but other than that, she was fine about everything. They knew about the porch swing, and no, the trifle didn't taste good, but she said it with love and kindness and support, and then she turned on Ross. And it's very rare that Ross is getting into trouble from Judy, which I thought was quite funny. And Jack's kind of supporting Judy with all of this, and then she turns to Chandler, and she says to him, "You're a wonderful human being." And this is because he supported Ross through his drug years, and now he's with Monica, and Jack hugs him, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a really lovely moment, and a really fun way, of course, to tell Jack and Judy about Monica and Chandler being together. So in all, it's a really beautiful episode. We then end with everybody talking about the trifle, and it turns out that Joey had gone around and eaten all of the trifles that had been discarded in the bathroom and Monica's room. So I'd love to know I was going to say I'd love to know what the trifle tasted like. I don't, but I would be quite curious to just see what it tastes like. If anybody's ever made it, if you've ever had a friends-themed party or something and you've made it, let me know what it's like. Is it even stomachable? I can't work out if it would be inedible or just disgusting. Maybe one day. But for now, I am pleased to say, and it comes as no surprise, that the one where Ross got high is an absolutely fantastic episode of Friends. I would say it's the best Thanksgiving episode. If I'm in the mood for a Thanksgiving episode, this is the one that I would go with. It's absolutely perfect. It is funny. The pacing is great. The characters are, of course, wonderful, and it's just always really great fun. Do I have any personal highlights? Honestly, the whole thing is fantastic. Jack and Judy, in general, are highlights because I just think they're wonderful and we don't get to see enough of them. Rachel and the trifle, particularly when she just explained what was in it and not really thinking that it was a problem. I love that little moment. And obviously the 30 seconds to a minute where just everything comes pouring out. And then Judy taking charge of everything I thought was a really great moment as well. And there's nothing about it I don't like necessarily. As I said, I don't really care for Phoebe's role in this, but as I said, I'm glad they at least made an effort to bring her a little bit more into the narrative. All things considered, this is a pretty fantastic, I'd say almost perfect episode of Friends.